Hi everyone, my name is itstyrenee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited to say that I am now doing a review for the live action of Disney's The Little Mermaid. This movie has been a movie I've been waiting for 4 years now. And best believe that this movie was definitely worth the wait. I have a lot of emotions and I don't really know where to begin with everything. So I will say in advance that we will dive into spoilers a little bit. So if you don't want to hear anything, that is totally fine. I will definitely see you in the next video. Now, usually I would categorize everything in reviews, but I'm just too excited to even think of everything in order. So more likely I'm just going to ramble on things that I loved and things that I wish there was more of. And I will say that I've avoided a lot of leaks for this movie, and that was the hardest thing I've ever done, especially waiting for a movie for 4 years. And I just wanted to just see everything myself on premiere night. I'm glad I saw this movie on premiere night. It was so beautiful with the whole just walking into the theater and just seeing little babies with their Little Mermaid merch and kids just dressing up in green and purple, and it's just really a cutest little thing. Like, my heart was just like literally crying, like walking to the theater and just seeing all these cute little black and brown babies, just so excited for this movie. And it was July 2019 where it was announced that Halle Bailey would be playing the role of Ariel, and this film had left a lot of people with mixed emotions with the casting on the internet about it. There were people who are automatically supportive, and then there were people who were like obviously hateful towards it and leaving distasteful comments everywhere, including like on her social media and stuff. She was sharing an account with her sister at the time on Instagram, but I would just want to come on here and say that immediately I remember the day I found out. I remember where I was. I remember the excitement, and she just had my full on support from the beginning, and I knew that from that day forward that I was going to be watching this movie. But it just hurt my heart for her to experience those kind of things, and from what I can tell and see with the interviews she's done, she did not let that get to her, and I'm glad that she didn't. But I will say that 4 years for this film was definitely worth the wait. Believe all of the reviews that you see when they say that this is the best live action Disney film ever. I believe the predictions for the box office were going to be sky high, and it's going great. And today is Memorial Day, so the 4-day weekend from the premiere night, which was the 26th Friday, to today, skyrocket, perfect. I believed all the critic reviews, all the audience reviews. Let me stop rambling. So let's go ahead and get into my review on how I feel about the live action version of Disney's The Little Mermaid. Now, I know a lot of times when Disney decides to remake a classic animated film with livelihood, a lot of people tend to wonder why when new stories can be told. Although the remake within itself feels like you're watching a completely different movie at the same time, this is a remake. And this movie runs about 2 hours, but it dramatically expands upon the two realms of the Caribbean setting, in addition to like more songs and more characters, and with more things added to it. Unfortunately, we did lost a few things from the original film, such as the song in the opening with Daughters of Triton, and unfortunately Chef Louis whipping it up in the kitchen prepping meals for Eric Grimsby and Ariel. But I will say, with Rob Marshall's direction for this film, it really gives me like a joyful experience in theaters, and I have not felt this way in a long time watching a movie in theaters. The last time I actually felt this way was with Frozen 2, and this was before the pandemic, and I honestly thought this movie was going to be my first movie after the pandemic, but I saw I think two more movies before this year, and I really just wasn't feeling it. So I'm glad that this movie really carried the magic of a Disney film that I have not felt in a long time, and it just really brings on the nostalgic Disney feeling with like the old movies that people miss, especially with like the 2D animation films that we got back in the day, like with this movie and like other Disney films and things of that such. I will say that Halle Berry carries the role of Ariel in such a phenomenal and graceful demeanor. Watching her really felt like I was watching the cartoon myself. It was from her voice to her mannerisms, and she is like a real life Disney princess. And Rob really chose the perfect girl as the Little Mermaid. And he knows he made the perfect decision. He knows he made the right decision. And Halle makes it really easy to put so much of your heart into, put so much of your soul into a fictional character that came with high standards. She makes it look like that. And for me, this isn't the first time I've seen her talents. I've seen her act. I've heard of her singing before with her sister, and I've actually seen her act in an old Disney movie. It's a Disney Channel movie called Let It Shine. She doesn't have a huge role, but like in the background, like in a couple of scenes here and there, she's like a background character. But even then, and then, of course, she was in a show called Grownish when she got this role, so they had to write her out of that show for her to be in this movie. But even then, this is her first, like, full-on, like, big role, big lead. Everybody's anticipating for her, and she did not disappoint. And this movie just really shows how much of a star she truly is and how big of a star she is growing to be for her future within her career. And it's not that Ariel did not have depth with her character in the original film, but I feel like with this movie they've fleshed out her character so much, and I think that was a smart decision because for some reason a lot of people believe that Ariel just wanted to go up into the human world just for Eric, but a lot of people clearly did not watch the original movie. You can obviously see her desire for it, and I really think the scene that really shows it was with the scene that she had with her sisters after Eric shipwrecked, and her sisters were like, "Ugh, they're trying to damage our ocean," and she was really defensive, and she was like, "No, they don't do it on purpose. Like, shipwrecks are not intentional." And she wasn't like this head over heels in love, and she wasn't like swooned all over Eric right after she met him. And that's not to like destroy or like basically like show hatred towards like the original Ariel, because in the original Ariel, once she saw Eric, she was just like head over heels in love, and she was just singing her heart out and stuff, and just swoon and just heart eyes and like Cupid's arrow. So it wasn't like that, and that's not to hate the original Ariel, but I'm just really happy that they show her defense for the human world without really showing her like love at first sight kind of thing. And even with the scene where she was confronted by Triton in the grotto, she didn't even say, "Oh my god, daddy, I love him." She was just like, "They're not that bad, like we shouldn't be enemies, you know, I'm interested in what they have to do and what they have to say." And you know, she didn't confess her love about Eric right there. She was just like, "No, not all of them are bad just because a few of them killed my mom when I was younger." Wasn't like that at all. And then the expansion of her experience of being a human within like those 3 days she had, and with the second thought of her decision with her deal of Ursula, and then her strength in fighting against Ursula, and then the satisfying conclusion of fulfilling her dream in addition to finding love, I just feel like the changes that were made in this film were just like a chef's kiss for her character. And with the same thing as Jonah King, I hope I pronounced his middle name correctly. I think that's his middle name. But I really feel like he is going to be the next internet sensation if he's not already, because I've seen a lot of people on TikTok just automatically in love with him as an actor, as his role for Eric, because I feel like nobody else could really do this role better than him. And I really admire how, of course, they added depth to his character as well. I really feel like in the cartoon, we did not know his character that much. I don't even think he was really like voyaging just to like he had an urge to. He was just out in the seas, and then he was just like, well, I gotta get married soon because I'm told I gotta get married. But in this movie, he's like, no, I want to like sail out to the oceans, and I have my own I want song, and I have my own collection of things that I found in the sea. And I'm glad that they added more to that, because we didn't know much about the cartoon version of him, and it was so beautiful because I really think the parallels between the two of them, it just grew their friendship closer before it developed into a more romantical thing, and the love slowly came into the picture rather than like a montage of like 3 days occurring, or yeah, just like a montage. So they took their time with how they spent quality time with each other within the course of those days, and it developed into something that felt like the relationship was earned between the two of them. I I'm not gonna lie, but I felt like with his solo with Wild Uncharted Waters, it reminded me of, this is not to be hateful, this is not at all, I don't need y'all sitting here being like, oh my god, you're being mean. When I saw his sequence, I automatically thought about Zac Efron in High School Musical 2 with Bet on It. And I've seen a couple of TikToks of people saying the same thing. So it's not to be hateful. I was like, oh my god. I said, oh. I love Hallie's vocals in that song, by the way. Just as a background. She's, ah, I love it. I love it. Mm-hmm. Now, Melissa McCartney's performance as Ursula, it showed like she was paying tribute to Pat Carroll, because I honestly was not sure what I was going to feel about Melissa's performance, but y'all, it did not disappoint at all. And I really like how they made Ursula's auntie. I really think it adds more of a disliking for Ursula as of why like her and Triton had like that sibling rivalry, and going after his youngest child, he's incredibly protective over. I think it just adds more to like her character as being the villain that she is in her story. Y'all, the way that she laughs sounds so much like the original. It is so insane. And I've only heard her version of Poor Unfortunate Souls one time when I saw the movie in theaters. But I'm gonna have to watch it again once it comes out on Disney Plus, because I know that song and Kiss the Girl had like lyric changes. I heard it more obviously in Kiss the Girl, but I don't really remember the lyrics to Poor Unfortunate Souls that much to remember what was taken out and what they put in. But I will say as well, Jessica Alexander's performance with the little amount of screen time she had, she did what had to be done. Oh my gosh, especially with the transition from Vanessa to Ursula after Ursula was like, oh, you're too late during the engagement party. You could see the evil in Vanessa's eyes, and the laughter was like so chaotic and so fearful. Oh my god. As soon as I saw, I said, oh my god. They need to put this girl in some more movies. It was perfect. The perfect like person for Vanessa, and she needs to be in more movies. And it was like so chaotic and like chilling compared to like the original, and the transition, it was just like, oh my god. So as for David Diggs, Aquafina, and Jacob Tremblay, they were very wholesome as animal sidekicks for Ariel. I do wish more of their characters had like screen time. For some reason, I feel like they didn't have more screen time compared to the animation, but I think for Sebastian, he's not a musical composer in this film. It cuts out more of what we were used to seeing throughout the cartoon, and I'm not sure what kind of bird Scuttle is now. He was not a pigeon. I forgot what other bird I forgot the bird he would. My mind is gone. but he's a different bird, or she is a different bird compared to the cartoon, which allowed her to dive underwater and have conversations with Ariel about the things that she was seeing and collecting and stuff. Flounder is the cutest thing in the whole wide world. Jacob did such a cute and adorable job with just enhancing the just bubbly and cuteness, and just a little scared part of Flounder. I wish there was more of him too. There was more of him in the cartoon when they were on land, but being realistic, he can't be there all the time. I wish he was though, but he obviously couldn't breathe underwater, so Sebastian and Scuttle with him the majority of the part, rather than Sebastian and Flounder were with Ariel in the cartoon. But they really did a great job with Kiss the Girl as well. There were some things that I really wish there was more of with Kiss the Girl. With the sequence in the cartoon, there wasn't just those three. It was literally just the whole ocean, just like trying to prep them to have that kiss. But it was just the three of them. But the song is cute. I don't remember the lyric changes at the top of my head, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and listen to it. But I didn't mind the lyric changes with either this song or Poor Unfortunate Souls. For some reason, people had an issue with it, but you have to understand that in this day and age, you can't say those particular things that were said. So, rightfully so, it was a smart decision to change the lyrics. Otherwise, this movie would have had extra backlash than what it already had, and I would hate for that to occur. So they also had a song of Scuttlebutt, which is a duo between Sebastian and Scuttle, and a lot of people were just kind of like about that too. I only heard it once when I saw it, and it's not as bad as people make it out to be. I just feel like people are just pointing out stuff just to find a reason to hate the movie outside of Ariel being black. But it's not a song that I would really find myself listening to like on Spotify. It's not bad, but it's just something that I will only listen to if I'm watching the movie, not outside of it. So yeah, I don't mind Scuttlebutt. Javier Bardem as King Triton personally did not go where I thought it would go. Yes, he is strict, but I think what I was expecting from him was to be a little overly strict and overly mean and constantly raising his voice in anger. And that's not to say that Javier did a bad job, but I was really wanting more from his character, but I think I would definitely have to rewatch it to examine it better. However, I will say that he and Halle portrayed a father-daughter duo in such a realistic manner, accurately. And there was a lot of changes with this film. I personally didn't mind any of the changes that had been made, such as, the name of Ariel's sisters, the clothes that she wore when she was on land. However, there are things that I do wish that we had, like more screen time of Ariel's sisters. I felt like out of the 6 of them, we only saw 3 of them talk, maybe 2, and only 3 of them were involved with like the search of her. Like there was a whole cutscene of like only 3 of them with their dad, like we can't find her, and Triton's like go look for her. I would think that all 6 of them would be a part of that, but from what I understand, I'm not familiar with all of them. I'm only really somewhat familiar with Simone Ashley, which was Indira, the orange mermaid. She was in Bridgerton, but I have not even seen that yet, so I can understand with like scheduling conflicts and stuff like that. But I just really wish we had all 6 of them just like talk and just really be super involved with not only the search of Ariel, but even towards the end, like the finale when all the mermaids came up on land. I only noticed 3 of them from initial first watch, but I think I'm gonna have to watch it again to like see if all of them were there. Another thing, Flotsam and Jetsam, they didn't speak. I wish they were there. They were just mute the whole time. It doesn't change anything major in the film, but like I don't even think they were like addressed as Flotsam and Jetsam in the films, but like Not the birds chirping. But yeah, I really thought we were also going to get the musical aspect of Atlantica as well, because yes, Triton did not like humans, but a lot of people don't seem to realize that not only he did not like the humans, but he like there was a time where he just like banned music completely because of their mom dying. And if you watch the prequel, you would be able to see that. And I just thought that the musical aspect would be like a huge part in like the livelihood of the undersea world. And of course, I came in just not expecting the opening song, which was Daughters of Triton. Perfectly fine with me, but I just thought they would still keep that musical aspect and the livelihood and just the musical feel of it all. Even though this movie is still a musical, that doesn't take away from that as a category of the film, or genre rather. But I just thought that was something that we would have looked forward to. But then again, it isn't the end of the world of how the film is. I did see a lot of people talk about certain issues with the CGI, and I didn't notice a lot as how people made it out to be. The only scene that kind of like bothered me in regards to CGI was the end with how Eric and Ariel fell out the boat. For some reason, that came out like a little weird. I don't know how to explain it, but everything else seemed fine. It majority of this film was CGI, but I think they did a great job with how they did everything. I honestly did not know that her tail was CGI. I didn't know her hair was CGI. I just thought it was just like the underwater part, obviously, and then I thought it was like the sea creatures, but they did a great job for what I've seen. Now, if you do ask me what my favorite scenes are, I would probably say the part of your world sequence, because Halle did a fantastic job. That high note at the end, I was like, oh my God. And I tried to do it myself, and I cannot sing for nothing, but I just tried to do it by myself alone. I said, oh, I'm out of breath. I can't do this. I don't know how she did it, but she set the bar high, like Rob Marshall said. And the scene where Vanessa transitioned to Ursula, again, very creepy, but in the best way possible. She needs to be in a horror movie. Like they need to put her in a horror movie, because the way she did that was just like, I don't know. I got the chills just thinking about it. And then I would say Jodie Benson's appearance was wholesome too, because it was like she was passing the torch, or in this case, Dingle Hopper, to Halle, and she's been incredibly supportive to Halle since day one, and I'm really happy that she not only made an appearance in this film, but I'm happy that she's been showing her support like on social media, and I'm happy like she was there at the premiere, and I'm trying not to cry. So I'm just happy that she's gotten a handful of support, especially from the original Ariel. And last but not least, I want to say the finale, where everybody came together and shown of support of Ariel and her new life, and her being a part of the human world, and her dad letting her go. It was the music that made me tear up. And I think you can see that Halle was like teary-eyed too in that scene. And I was just like, this movie, this whole anticipation for this film has been teary-eyed. I remember just like nearly crying my eyes out with the teaser trailer from D23, and it's just, I'm trying to breathe, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm trying to breathe. I'm trying not to cry. Okay. Now, personally, my favorite songs are For the First Time and Part of That World. I already knew how Part of the World was going to go, so I knew she was going to do a great job. The high vocal, I really loved in Part of Your World too. She expressed a sense of anger, and that was really a different take, and I'm really glad she was actually to put her own take into that, and it really sounded like a Broadway kind of version of Part of That World. And I don't know how many times I can put my thumbs up. I don't know how many times I can say she did a great job. I don't know how many times I can da 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 da. But I will say it took me by surprise because Part of Your World actually came out a month before the movie, the full thing, and I did not listen to it. And then the soundtrack came out on the 19th. Did not listen to it. Now the only bit and piece I've heard of Part of Your World before the movie came out was the bright young women sick of swimming ready to stand part. And I was like, okay, that's all. And from there I was about to cry. So I was like, nope, saving it for the rest of the movie. I've been avoiding spoilers and leaks until I watched the movie. I said, nope, just waiting. But yeah, very Broadway. You can show that she was very talented and she put her everything into this, and I don't know what else to say from there. But I do like For the First Time as well, and that song particularly has been on repeat for me. I've been listening to that a little bit more compared to Part of Your World, and I think if I'm not mistaken, was it that song was either on Broadway or Lynn actually wrote that, like at part for that film itself. But let me tell you something, Lynn deserves the biggest hug and kiss on the forehead because of that song. When I first heard it, I said, ooh, the vocals, the production, the lyrics, the scene for it. And I'm glad that even though it was in her head, I'm glad they showed a snippet of her like singing in her head. I said, and I'm about to actually listen to it again once this review comes to a conclusion. I said, oh my god. And the vocals and the for the first time, I can't sing, but you know where I'm going with this. I said, oh my god, you know what, this might be the best Disney song I've ever heard in my entire life, and I've only heard it for like 3 days. I said, this might be the best Disney song. And I say this every time when I watch a new Disney movie. I'm like, oh my god, this is the best Disney song ever. I said that with like the songs from Frozen 2, because that was actually the last Disney film I saw in theaters before this one. But this, I know this, I understand, like you might say like you're being dramatic, you know, there are other songs, but this is actually the best live action like additional like song that wasn't like in the original. Now I've never seen the other live action films, so I don't know if the other films had like added songs into the live action to like add more character to whoever was singing it. But this, I'm about to listen to this again. I made a whole playlist and I listen, I'm definitely putting this song on repeat. So this is the conclusion of my Little Mermaid review. What are your thoughts on this movie? How many times have you watched it? What's your favorite song? Favorite characters? The only reason I'm asking how many times you watched it, because once again, a lot of people have seen this movie more than once, as they should. You know, make those box office openings go up, those ratings go up. Give Halle her money, as she deserves. Everybody did a phenomenal job. Give everybody their money, you know what I mean? But yeah, let me know. Comment down below so we can start a conversation about it. And that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!